The BFA project is in its final stages. Today, I'll work on a few final things and I'm going to start with the tires. With an engine like the BFA 306, the scooter will run faster than normal. To make sure that the driving characteristics are as good as possible and the scooter runs very smoothly, I want to balance the tires. To balance the wheel, we use this balancer here. It's quite a simple construction with two bearings which the axle runs through and a brake drum that we've balanced out perfectly. As you can see, the whole construction is exactly in balance and doesn't stop at any point. Now, I'll put the tire on it and check if the tire is heavier in some places than in others. I've clamped the tire now and will check if it rotates to a specific point. Now you can see quite well that the tire stops in one place, not entirely randomly near the valve, because that's usually the heaviest point. If I turn the wheel to here, then it turns in that direction, and if I turn it to the other side, it still turns to the same spot. I have some little weights here. This is a 5-gram weight that has an adhesive surface at the back, with which I can glue it to the rim. Preferably glue it to the bottom, so that it gets pressed outwards due to centrifugal force and doesn't fly away. The only problem is that you don't know exactly how many grams you need to put on the tire to make it balanced. That's why I have weights with a blob of modeling clay prepared that I can put on the tire to test how much weight I have to use. I'm putting weights right here at the top, and then I'll check if the wheel stops exactly in the middle. Okay. You can see that it's turning slower now, but that it still stops in the same spot, which means that I have to put on a little more weight. Now I take another 5-gram weight. Put this on here and check if it still happens. This one just dropped. The modeling clay did no longer hold up, but I don't want to put too much modeling clay on it either, because that would falsify the result. Later, I'll remove the weights with the modeling clay anyway and replace it with weights with a proper glue. Stops. 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 The tire always stops in the same place where I let go. That means it's perfectly balanced and I can glue on the final weights in the same spot that the testing ones are in. Of course, the spot that you glue the weights on should always be cleaned and free of grease. That's why I take some brake cleaner and clean the area. Then I can remove the protective foil from the glue and put it as far as possible in here so that it doesn't get in the way. Glue the last one in too, so that I have the same weight as before. And now it should stop in every position. It does. That means I can take the tire down again and put it on the scooter. You may still remember what I said in an earlier episode. I want to combine many modern parts with a few collectibles and some old-school accessories. Unfortunately, this seat is the last collector's item that's left, because everything else somehow just caused problems. Unfortunately, this one also doesn't fit at all. I think it's very beautiful and very stylish, but I can't even apply a seat pin, at least not without big adjustments. And also, the shape does not fit correctly, and since I plan to drive long distances with this scooter, I'll stop this here too and get another seat. Luckily, we have other very nice seats in stock that are road trip friendly and look very good as well. This Nisa seat here, for example. Since a couple of years, Nisa has launched a new seat line for Vespa, and I find that they are very well made and have a very good fit. This one here is an Ancelotti style with a wide piping and a somewhat coarser structured outer cover. I think it's very beautiful. And it still has the advantage of being comfortable enough for longer tours. So that's what I'm going to use.
Die werde ich jetzt verbauen.
When I put the seat on, then you can see that it actually fits quite well.
Dass die eigentlich ganz gut passt. Sie schließt
It closes quite well as well and leaves no gap. It's a bit larger than the frame, but that's also what I would like to have to be able to ride tours. And it even overlaps the frame here a little bit. Of course, I still have to fiddle around a bit in combination with the gas tank prototype, but it still works quite well. As you can see, one of the last things that are to be done is the steering head cover. Most of the electrical parts are already connected, so right now would actually be a good time to do that, but my nice collectible steering head cover, which I put so much work into, this collector's item from Stihl Motor, is already broken as well. Unfortunately, the vibrations on the dyno caused that 3 out of 4 fixations are gone now.
Ausgebrochen sind. Ich habe beschlossen, auch an der Stelle.
So I decided to give up on that collector's item as well, and to use a regular steering head cover instead.
Eine normale Lenkkopfabdeckung her.
As you can see, it's almost finished. I painted it myself, as you can unfortunately see as well. The SIP speedometer is also installed. So everything would be ready for mounting the steering head cover up there, but I don't do it now because something else came up in the meantime. There's a scooter race happening at the Nürburgring, and I decided that I want to drive the scooter there. And since we will race the official Grand Prix track, that's about 3 kilometers long and has relatively long straights, I came up with the idea of installing a steering damper to have a little more security at high speeds.
Ich will einen Lenkungsdämpfer montieren.
Most of you probably have seen them before. It's a damper that's installed between the steering head and the frame. And it dampens the movement of the steering column, so that you won't get a fluttering steering head or similar issues at high speeds. With the Vespa, however, it is always problematic to install something like this, because it is simply not intended for a Vespa. So now I'm trying to come up with an idea of how something like that might work best, and for that I will take off the cascade first. I might take this screw out of here first and check if it can be screwed on there. Then I need a socket here and a bracket there. The stupid thing is, though, that I have to drill into my nice chassis to mount a high-quality bracket. That is something that I actually wanted to avoid at all costs. But, well, alright, so now I have found all the parts I need. I want this here, and I got a second ball head that I'll screw there. Then I use body washers so that it won't flax. That way I only need one hole, a 6mm hole. That comes in here. And to be able to drill in there, I'll center punch it first. This one I take off again. These are bushes that are usually used for the black box or the CDI. And they fit in right here. I already have them in there. Only the inside diameter is a bit too small for my 6mm screws. So I'll drill it out a bit, and then they will be just fine and work without play. One more hole in the body, and then I can install it. The ball head must not move, so I'll put a bigger washer here that goes over the ball, and another body washer, and the other end gets screwed on that. The ball doesn't move anymore, but I can align it nicely at the beginning, and then that should work just fine. Can I ask you for a little help? Can you use the ratchet to tighten this? Nothing flexes on either side and nothing touches. Full turn is given. Nothing is moving here. Steering wheel lock works too. That's how I wanted it. That's how I imagined it. And that's how it actually turned out.